jeans right here. How did I make these blue jeans? Did I make them? No, I didn't make them, but the people at the store, how did they make these blue jeans? What are they going to need to use to make my blue jeans? Cloth. They can use cloth. Now, when we have cloth, what do you need to make cloth, though?
Sheep.
A sheep, maybe. Okay, so you're thinking that the wool from the sheep. Well, actually, blue jeans aren't made from wool.
Cotton?
They're made from cotton. You're exactly right. I have a picture. Actually, I don't have a picture of cotton on my thing. So yes, cotton. We need cotton. What else do I need? How do I get all this thread together? How do I put it together?
Sew it.
Sew it. What do you have to sew it with?
A needle.
A needle. Do you think they do it with a hand and a needle? Or do you think they do it with a sewing machine?
Sewing machine.
Sewing machine. So there's lots of things that are needed to make my blue jeans, aren't there? Okay. Have you ever helped mom or dad make a cake?
Me.
You've never made a cake before?
No.
You buy them. Yes, you're right. You do buy them. But when you make a cake, there's several things that you need to use to make a cake. Do you need an oven to make a cake? Eggs. Okay. Eggs. You're exactly right. Those are all things that we need to make a cake. All of those things that you just told me are called productive resources. Those are things that are used to make something. Okay? Now, there's 3 different kinds, and this might ring a little bit of a bell. There's 3 different kinds of resources that we use to make things. One resource.
Natural.
Ah, you're remembering. Good. Human? Yes, natural, human. Good. One resource is a natural resource. Now, why do I have these pictures on here? Those are natural resources. You're right. So an example of a natural resource, does anybody know what that is? That is wheat. Good. Wheat is an example of a natural resource because it grows naturally. Okay? It's something that can grow out in nature. Natural resource is something that can be found in nature. Okay? Trees are an example of a natural resource. The sun is an example of a natural resource. So here's a picture card that tells us about what a natural resource is. I'm going to put that up here. Okay? Here's another one, you're right. The second one y'all said was human resource. Look at the picture that I have up here. Do you see that picture? What is that?
Chef.
It's a chef.
Chef.
Is it a chef? What does a chef? What does a chef do? Cooks. Now, so this is a person, right? A human resource is a person that's needed to make something. So if we were making a cake, we would need a chef or a cook, a human, to help us make it. You're right. Do you think there was a human needed to help make my blue jeans? Yes, we need humans to help us make things. That's called a human resource. The last one, Melanie, do you remember?
Capital.
Capital resource. Good. So I have a picture up here. Oops. I have 2 pictures up here that show what a capital resource is. Does anybody remember from your talks about goods and services what a capital resource is? Use the picture to help. Melanie?
The tools you can use.
Tools that are used. You're exactly right. Something that's man-made. So a sewing machine and a hammer would be an example of a capital resource. Okay? These are not things that you can find in nature. Could I go outside right now and find a hammer? No, it's not something that you can find naturally. These are things that have been made by people that help make things. And another example of a capital resource might be something like a spoon. If you were going to make lemonade, you would need a spoon to stir it up with, right? Okay, so these 3 things about a family or a mom and a boy who's going to be making pancakes. Have you ever had pancakes for breakfast before?
We would have them Saturday.
You had them on Saturday. I have a son and his name is Grayson. Every morning when we ask him what he wants for breakfast, do you know what he says?
Pancakes.
Pancakes. Do you know what pancakes are? Fayla, have you ever had them before? You have. Well, here's kind of a picture of what pancakes are. But It's not a really good picture. What do you think is used? What do you think you have to use to make pancakes? Maybe you've made them before. What do you have to use?
Eggs.
You probably need some eggs to make pancakes, okay? Melanie?
A pan.
Yes, you're going to need a pan. Now, Melanie, I'm going to ask you a question. What kind of resource is a pan?
Capital.
Very good. Good job. All right. Well, I'm going to read through this story, and you'll notice that I have some sticky notes. Some of the resources that we get to in this book, we're going to stop, and we're going to see if you can help me figure out what kind of resource is that's being used to help make a pancake. Okay? We're not going to do every single resource because it'll take us a while to get through the book if we did that. But I have a few of them that I've already written down. So we'll stop and we'll have to see what type of resource is that being used to make the pancake. Okay? So listen carefully. This story is called Pancakes, Pancakes, and it's by Eric Carle. Do you know any other books that have been written by Eric Carle? Do you know who Eric Carle is? Have you ever read The Very Hungry Caterpillar?
Mm-hmm.
That's the same author. Doesn't it kind of look like the pictures? Let me show you just a couple of the pictures. Doesn't that kind of look like the illustrations that are in The Very Hungry Caterpillar? Because it's the same author. Okay. Pancakes, pancakes. Kikeriki! Crowed the rooster. Jack woke up, looked out the window, and thought, I'd like to have a big pancake for breakfast. Jack's mother was already up and busy. Mother, said Jack, I'd like to have a big pancake for breakfast. I'm busy and you'll have to help me, she said. How can I help? Asked Jack. We'll need some flour, she replied. Take a sickle and cut as much wheat as the donkey can carry. Then take it to the mill. The miller will grind it into flour. When Jack had cut enough wheat, he put it on the donkey's back and took it to the miller. So let's stop right here. Wheat. What do you think wheat is? Is wheat an example of a natural resource, a human resource, or a capital resource? Alex?
Natural resource.
Natural resource. Will you come put it up on our board? Very good. All right, let's keep reading. Can you grind this wheat for me? He asked. I need it for a big pancake. First, we must separate the grain from the chaff, said the miller. He gave Jack a flail and spread the wheat onto the ground. The miller took another flail and began to beat the wheat with it. Stop for just a second. A miller. In this picture, this is the miller. Someone who's helping him make the wheat into flour. Where do you think the miller goes?
Human resource.
Yes, it is a person. It's someone that mills up the wheat. Very good. And now there's another word, a flail. Does anybody want to take a guess? Thinking about the context clues in here, listen. It said, the miller took another flail and began to beat the wheat with it. So in this picture, do you think you could point to what the flail might be? Does anybody have an idea? What do you think? You're exactly right. That is the flail. I had never heard of what that was before, but very good thinking about the context clues. Where do you think a flail would go? Diego, where do you think it would go?
Capital.
Why? Why would it be a capital resource? What is it? It's a tool. Very good. Yep, put it right. Do you think this mold is an example of a natural, human, or capital resource? Everybody?
Capital.
Definitely capital because it's a tool. It's something that someone has already made to make the crayons. Good thinking.
How they pour that in? Kind of a double bucket.
You remember?
Natural.
There were natural resources. What else?
Human.
They needed human resources. What else?
Capital.
And they needed capital resources to be able to make the pancakes, didn't they? So let's look and review. Help me remember what a natural resource is. What is that?
Things that come from nature.
Something that comes from nature. Very good. What's a human resource?
Make something.
A person that makes something. And what about a capital resource?
Tool.
A tool that's used. Something that's man-made. Something that's not natural. They have to make it. So all those things were examples of capital resources. I now have a job for you. Now that we've identified, you've showed me that you know the resources that were used to make pancakes. You guys are going to draw a picture and you're going to label